Welcome to Front Porch Lawyer, where we address the humanity of lawyering. Many attorneys are winning battles in the courtroom, but losing battles in their lives. From interpersonal relationships to stress management, Front Porch Lawyer explores topics that improve your practice, your lifestyle, and even your love life. Leave feeling a little more inspired with a smile on your face. Here's your host, Francine.
Are you a high achiever? I mean, what lawyer isn't? But despite the achievements, you've convinced yourself that it's just not enough. You lean towards perfectionism, and you're often or always coming up short. And you work really hard, but you never are satisfied with the work you've done. You know you've done a lot, but you figure most of what you've done just isn't worth the celebration. And you like doing everything a certain way because if you had to change or try a new way, it might derail you. And it's embarrassing when others compliment you because you know they're overestimating your abilities. They have a label for this. It's called Imposter Syndrome, and many high achievers suffer from this. Do you or another lawyer that you know suffer from Imposter Syndrome? When you suffer from Imposter Syndrome, you're always looking at your accomplishments as if they don't count. How does this happen? And what can be done about it? Hi, welcome to Front Porch Lawyer, where we explore the humanity of lawyering. I'm Francine, your host. Now, some time ago, I serendipitously was hired as a ski instructor. I wasn't a very good skier. I had learned as an adult and had not taken many lessons, but apparently I had the requisite smile. And I was participating in a clinic shortly after my being hired to improve my skiing skills, which they needed a lot of improvement. Everyone in the clinic skied way better than me. I was pretty self-conscious about my lack of skiing skills, and I felt like a complete fraud because I was one. I befriended another new hire in my group, and as we chatted, I learned he had been accepted into law school. So on the chair ride, we chatted about that, which was something I knew something about. About an hour into this clinic, though, the leader of the clinic, who'd been a veteran ski instructor, probably started when he was about 20 years old, and a few other veteran instructors started making fun of the way I skied. They started getting kind of mean about it. My feeling like a fraud only grew, and finally I said something to my new friend, the law student, who then quickly turned to me and said, "Forget them, you're an effing lawyer." Well, that was startling. But it took me back to a time when I was only 10 years old. After finessing my way onto the swim team against my parents' wishes, because sports was considered frivolous and everything was about academics, I started winning, and I started bringing home ribbons and medals. And after a while, the proof of my winnings started cluttering up my bedroom. So my parents gave me a shoebox, an old shoebox, and I put all my ribbons and medals in my shoebox to clean everything up. I quickly learned that the evidence of my accomplishments belonged in a shoebox. I'd spent most of my life putting my accomplishments into the shoebox, real or proverbial. That day on that hill, on that ski hill, I realized I had put my law degree into a shoebox. It didn't help that when it came to skiing, I really did feel like a fraud. But I realized that my imposter syndrome had been born back when I was 10 years old. Today, I have to remind myself every day that I've accomplished a lot in my life that's worthy and has value. I have to remind myself daily to rise to the level of my accomplishments rather than letting them slide into a shoebox. Studies estimate that 70% of the population suffers from imposter syndrome at some point in their life, some with a shoebox, some without. Imposter syndrome describes high-achieving individuals who experience this persistent fear of being found out or being exposed as a fraud despite everything they've done in their life. They sabotage themselves. They tend to be perfectionists. Of course, we can never achieve perfection, so this fits right into imposter syndrome. And we underestimate our ability and our value. Today, I know from my coaching clients that many lawyers, particularly women, suffer from imposter syndrome. And it's tough to pull yourself out of this imposter syndrome by yourself. Your brain has to go to war with itself. And so you need to get some kind of outside help. But one of the most important steps to dealing with imposter syndrome is identifying the thought when it happens. This is where developing the skills of emotional self-awareness can come in really handy. Once you've identified the thought, the next step is to identify how you feel. This is the first step to changing your thought pattern when that feeling of fear of being exposed as a fraud starts coming upon us. At this point, it's helpful to know what emotion you're also feeling. So there's a video that I've done on identifying emotions. The video is called How to Become a Most Effective Lawyer Ever. And there's a link for it in the upper corner of this video. But I'm also going to put the link below this video so you can click on it and go watch it after this video. Because it's tough changing that shoebox mentality. But reflecting on how that journey began with a real shoebox gave me a quiet understanding of what and how it happened. Through that quietness, I began to accept who I am for what I am. Today, I know that reflecting back helped put today into perspective, allowing me to accept my accomplishments for what they are. Am I completely cured? Far from it. But I'm definitely a work in progress, and I can spot those signs when they creep up on me. When you start thinking that you aren't deserving, stop and take notice of your thought and your emotions and your feelings. Go watch that video where I put the link below, How to Become the Most Effective Lawyer Ever. There's a tool I talk about in there to help you accurately identify those emotions. By the way, I threw away my old shoebox, but I kept my ribbons and my medals. Comment below and send me your thoughts by email, and thank you for joining me on my front porch. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on the lower right corner of this video so you don't miss any episodes. This is Francine Tone and Front Porch Lawyer, and I'll see you next time.